Hi, this is Tamar Lipscomb, and you're watching Issues from the Heart on the MIXX Network. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the MIXX Network. This episode of Issues from the Heart explores the heart, the purpose, and the storytelling journey behind the works of author Rosetta S. Brown, including her inspiring title, Queen Within, and her deeply personal book, Her Journey to September. But before we get started, I'd like Rosetta to introduce herself and tell our viewers a little bit about who she is and when did she become a writer.
My name is Rosetta Brown. I was actually born in Ruffin, North Carolina, about maybe 10 minutes from Reesville. I've been living in Reesville ever since 2007. And I actually started writing at a very early age, at the age of 5. I dealt with a lot of pain in my life from early childhood, and writing was always my way to release that hurt. So I started at 5, and as I became to womanhood, kind of hid my writing a little bit because I was very concerned about people criticizing me. And I got to the point where, my family kept telling me this is something that you need to pursue. And so that's what I did
Wow, awesome. So since the age of 5?
since the age of 5.
Wow. Now, the title, The Queen Within, is very powerful by itself. What does that phrase personally mean to you?
It stems from a moment where, I was doing, as a woman, I was doing everything for everybody else. I was actually putting myself on the back burner. I was running errands. I was working a full-time job. I was taking care of my mom, just doing a lot of stuff. I was getting up in the mornings, looking in the mirror, and that person that I was looking at, I just didn't like. Um, I just saw every wrinkle, just wasn't taking care of myself. And it was actually sending me to like a deep depression. One morning I got up and I looked in the mirror and this voice spoke to me. It was so soft and so peaceful. It spoke to me and said, "Do you know who you belong to?" And it kind of startled me at first, and I just stood there. You belong to the Most High God. You are a queen, and you need to speak that into your life every day. So that's where Queen Within came from.
Wow, that is powerful.
Yeah.
And you speak in affirmation.
Affirmation to myself.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. That is powerful. Encouraging, that's encouragement to women
Yes,
to
to women.
rediscover, that's
Yes,
right,
to
their
rediscover
value.
themselves and who they are. It's
Absolutely.
always the husband, the kids, your job, your family, but never yourself. So we have to encourage ourselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. How has faith shaped your message?
I've always had a personal relationship with the Lord from a very early age. That stemmed from being in the home with my grandparents, who was very, very spiritual. And I always knew who the Lord was. But my encounter came from him from as a child, just going through what I felt like was being abandoned in my home and calling on God to help me and to protect me. So I developed that relationship with him at a very young age. You get older, you stray
Absolutely,
away,
absolutely.
you kind of start doing your own things and, partying, drinking,
Right,
whatever.
right.
But I, but in my home with my parents, I will always have to get up and go to church,
That's
regardless of
right.
how I felt,
Think, well,
how
yep.
hungover I was. So that was my relationship with the Lord. I've been in some really tough situations, and He has always showed up for
That's
me.
right. And the foundation, like you say, even though sometimes we stray away a little bit, but
Yeah,
the foundation is already laid.
yeah, it always brings you back. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is very powerful. Um, the journey into authorship. So when did you really start to get into like writing until we got to, the book being published?
I did my first journal, Don't Be Afraid, God is with you. And I had the manuscript in my closet for about 15 years.
Wow.
And my son kept telling me, "Mom, you need to do something with it. You need to do something with it." So I finally put it together and met with a publisher and had it published
Wow.
Yeah.
How long did that? You said okay, so the manuscript
It was,
sat for 15 years.
yes, a lot of them did.
Okay.
A lot of them.
Oh wow, wow, wow. What is your earliest inspiration?
My earliest inspiration, I would say, would be my grandparents.
Okay, cool.
My grandfather had structure in his home. It was always a peaceful place to go. My grandmother, she would get up in the mornings and she would always say, a woman just don't get up in the morning and, walk around with your gown on. You get up, you take your bath and
That's
you
right.
put your clothes on and you put a little bit of makeup on, even if you're not even going outside.
Absolutely.
So, I observed her. Everything was always in place. And my grandfather always kept the peace and the structure, the foundation in the house. And my grandmother took care of everything. I mean, decorating the table for every season. You know, she controlled when you had breakfast, when you had lunch, when you
Right.
had dinner.
Right.
So those were all the things that she controlled, and that was the life that I wanted for myself.
Absolutely.
So my grandparents were my inspiration.
And very, like I said, very structured.
Yes, very structured.
I can kind of relate to that. I remember, gosh, even growing up, like breakfast was ready. I
Yes.
mean, full course. I'm not
Yes.
talking about like instant
No,
oatmeal
it's the
and whatever. I mean, full
bacon,
course.
eggs, ham,
Absolutely.
homemade biscuits.
Dinner was ready when we
Yes.
got home off the school
Yes.
bus. It's
It
just,
was.
it was structured, like
It
you said.
was.
Everybody watching. We only had one TV.
One TV and what, three channels? CBS,
Right. You
ABC,
didn't have a,
NBC,
that's
and that
right.
was
And
it.
we all sat in the living room and we watched that.
Yes.
So I can definitely relate there.
Yes.
Were there, after you got the after you decided, okay, I got to do something with this manuscript, was there any publishing issues or challenges that you had?
Oh, that's a good one. Yes. So my first journal, Don't Be Afraid, God is With You. I signed a contract deal with a publisher and, ordered all my books and paid for my services, and that was the end of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I lost my money and
Oh, my
had
gosh.
to try to publish my books with Amazon myself. Yeah.
How
So all the
heartbreaking.
advertising I was supposed to get with my journal, I didn't. Nothing in the contract was honored.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what made because for many that would probably deter, okay, I'm not doing
Oh,
this. Maybe
it
this
did.
is a
It
okay.
did. Yeah. So I got to the point when that happened. I was going back and forth with Amazon. They were charging me, and I didn't know what to do.
Okay.
Because I'd hired someone to do all these things for me. So I had no idea. They started charging me like every month. So I tried to sell as many journals as possible. And then I was going back and forth with the publisher. And then all of a sudden, the UPS truck shows up at my door and they're putting all these boxes.
Okay.
So I had like almost like 1,000 journals that was set on my front porch.
Wow.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
And my husband, my son, and I, we took the boxes upstairs.
Okay.
I said, I'm done. I'm not doing this again. I had lost my money. I had all this inventory and nothing to do with it because I had no idea. This was my first time. And just really hurt. But I had my mom there that always encouraged me, Rosetta, don't give up.
Yeah.
But I did. I stopped for a while. But writing had always been like my stress release.
Gotcha.
So, I sold as many journals as I could, and then I said, hey, this is not going to stop me. Now, it took me about 6 months to bounce back.
Okay.
It took a while. So after, the 6 months, my husband and my son kept encouraging me, Mom, you gotta still do something with it. Just because that happened for a reason. And then that's when I went to started writing my second book, my first book, Whispers of a Damaged Heart.
Okay.
And published that, and I did really well with that.
That's
Yes.
awesome. So you did not give up.
No, I did not give up.
That's
I had a
right.
setback for about 6
absolutely.
months.
Yeah.
Lost some money. Have a lot of inventory still, but you just get something inside of you, especially when you have a really good circle. You just have to keep moving forward.
And you have that support
Yes.
system. Wow. And you definitely, your writings with, of course, experience.
Yes.
And definitely emotions. I can just tell that just right now by
I'm
talking
an
with you.
emotional writer.
Right. And
Emotional person.
people pick up on that when
Yeah.
when they read your book. And you have used storytelling to as a way of healing and a ministry. And I just think that's powerful. And your book seems to carry both strength and vulnerability. So was writing always therapeutic? But then you already kind of answered that. Told us that it was.
Yes, it was for me. Everyone has a story.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Everyone. It all is. It's up to you what you do with it. It was my stress release. It was a way of me staying sane. You know, as I said before, women have a lot to deal with in life. You know, taking care of your health, taking care of everything else. It was my balance in life.
Right.
So you know, writing about my hurt and my pain was a way of me releasing those feelings. And so yes, it was my outlet.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with Issues from the Heart after a word from our sponsors.
When you shop with Queen E, you shop with a purpose. You can help me help somebody else. I'm blessed to be a blessing. I'm Queen E, Erica Noel of Creative Vibes Mobile Unit. You can reach me at Facebook, Erica/Noel. Or you can reach me by texting me 336-344-4025. 336-344-4025. My name is Erica Noel on Facebook. Message me.
Hi, and welcome back. We are here with another episode of Issues from the Heart with author Rosetta S. Brown. We're going to go into the journey to September. So I know you've inspired and uplifted through your writing. But this latest work, it feels personal. It feels like it comes from a deeper place. Tell us about that a little bit.
So her journey to September, my mother got sick in December of 2024. Now, my mom and I, best friends, we mimicked each other. Shopping days, going out to eat, you know, we just did everything together. And when she got sick, I started writing because she actually got sick when she was in the Queen City.
Okay.
And so we had to stay there because her healthcare director was there. Now I'm the daughter. The healthcare director was another family member. So when she got sick, she was actually in the hospital for 18 days. And those 18 days, I would just write while I was sitting there beside her, not knowing what the outcome was going to be, just believing that she was going to get better, and then this was going to be like a beautiful testimony.
Absolutely.
So that's the way that I was looking at it. So then maybe week 3 of her being in hospital, she started having sundowning, where she would stay up all night. The doctors was kind of saying, well, we're coming in like every 30 minutes checking her, taking blood. So, hopefully, when she comes out of the hospital, she'll be back to normal. So, and I was believing that, believing that's what was going to take place. So she came out of the hospital the second week after New Year's. She came home. Well, she wasn't home. She was at the healthcare director's home.
Okay.
And so I stayed down there, and, we were still talking. She still knew who I was. So when I left there, coming back home, because I had to eventually come back to work, which was the day after Martin Luther King's birthday, I just started writing about that experience. And then every weekend I would go down there to see her. First couple of weeks of going back in January, going into February, she seemed pretty normal, but then going back towards the mid of February, just like she just took a turn. And things just started happening really fast. So I would do voice recordings, being down there because I would be up all night long. I would work Monday through Friday, get off work on Friday, drive 2 hours to be with my mom, and then I would be up all night long.
Wow.
All Friday night, all Saturday night, and then Sunday coming back home and working again and doing it all over again.
Wow.
So got to the point where the healthcare director just really kind of just took over, and I didn't have a voice anymore.
Okay.
So that was the most painful thing to me. My mother, and I don't want to say too much that's in the book, but my mom had said, Rosetta, I don't never want to suffer. She had said, if I have dementia or some type of terminal ill disease that's no cure, don't let me suffer.
Okay.
You promised me. And I said, yeah, Mama, I said, I promise. Even though I was the youngest, she just depended on me for so much. And
Wow.
and I took that as an honor. And she would always tell me, how strong that I was like her and like her mother, my grandmother, that we were strong women. So I took that with pride. Well, I got to the point where they wouldn't even listen to me.
Right.
The doctors, the nurses, and everything that I wanted. I wanted to be an advocate for my mother. They just stripped me. And if I, would get upset because my mom was like, she was suffering, they would put me out of the hospital. Wow. They would put me out of the room.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So my mother really went down fast.
Wow.
She was isolated from her family, from her friends. She wanted to come home, but she could not come home because the healthcare directive lived there. And the doctors turned her over to her.
Oh, wow.
My mother suffered severely. It was a pain that I had never ever felt before because I couldn't do anything for her.
Right.
She was screaming for her parents to come get her, her sisters. I don't want to cry. Her sisters to come get her. She was screaming for me, and I couldn't do anything.
Wow.
So.
And that's painful.
Yeah, that was very painful. I didn't understand why. I would ask the doctors why, and they were very limited on what they would tell me. So I just started seeing her just waste away. She had all this long, beautiful hair, and by June, yeah, it was gone. And if I didn't write during that time, I would have lost my mind. I know that for a fact. Because just the stench that I would get there on a Friday. And I had to be very careful. I couldn't go against this person because before June got here, they had already told me I couldn't come there anymore because I was trying to be an advocate for my mother. So I had to, walk on eggshells, make sure I didn't upset her so she wouldn't put me out. And then I just started noticing the bed sores. And I didn't really understand the full effect of her sickness until after she transitioned and I got the medical report. It was over 5,000 pages.
Wow.
I read 2,000 pages.
Wow.
And my husband told me that I needed to stop because it was actually putting me into a deep depression. And that's something in the African American community that we don't talk about. We don't want to talk about, when you felt a certain type of way when you were younger. They said, go outside and get some fresh air.
Right.
Yeah, go play. You'll be okay. But I was kind of ashamed at first because I was depressed. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, driving my husband crazy, driving my boys crazy because my mom was gone. And I couldn't even get her body.
Right.
My mom wanted to come home.
Right.
She wanted to be buried beside my dad and her family and friends. She loved her church in Mount Hermon.
Right.
But the healthcare directive had put in a clause in the power of attorney papers, disposition of the body.
Wow.
She had control of the body after her death.
Gosh.
And didn't honor any of her wishes. So I didn't get to bring my mom home. So, yeah, that sent me into a very deep depression. And then I felt like I had to hurry up and heal. You know, I just lost my best friend. I watched her suffer severely, and there was nothing that I could do. So I was just writing and just writing and writing. And you know what? The crazy thing is, I didn't want to hurt nobody. But my mom didn't want to hurt anybody. So I had to be very careful what I said, how I said it. But it was a lot worse than what the book was. And I just wanted everybody to remember my mom. I wanted them to know what she went through. She was a beautiful lady. I mean, there was no respect there. My mother always took pride in herself. And for the doctors and the nurses to allow this insane act to take place. Even today, she's been gone 9 months, and I still can't understand it.
Wow.
I still can't. And it was a healing process for me. You know, the last 2 chapters were very difficult for me. And I think if it wasn't for my husband and my sons, I don't think I could have made it through.
So you're actually telling your mom's story.
Yes.
In this book. So her voice heard.
Be heard. What happened to her should never have happened to her, and it should never happen to another elderly person. Never.
And that's what I was going to ask you about, just that watching, like you said, watching your mother's health decline. I've been there. I shared I lost my mom in December of 2021, and my mom was a little different story, but transitioning, but like I didn't see it. You know, like a lot of times, like it's there, right in front of your eyes, but oh no. You know, she's gonna get better, or no. You know, she can't walk to the kitchen. Well, maybe she walked yesterday. What's going on? You know, I'm gonna just get up.
Yeah.
But wow, just what you, and even with all of that, and I heard you say your mother you didn't want to hurt anyone, and your mom did, and you were still honoring your mom, wishes, even though she was going through.
Yes.
But you were still honoring that wish, like it's almost like don't.
She loved her family.
Yeah.
She wanted us to stay close, but this has actually pulled us apart. You know, now I've got to work on forgiving. And that's what I keep hearing from my husband and from my children. Mom, you got to forgive. Rosetta, you got to forgive. And I'm not there yet.
Yeah. That's okay.
I'm not there yet. I just, you know, she would be proud that of me and what I've done.
I'm sure. Absolutely.
And if it saves another elderly person from going through what my mom went through, then my pain was worth it.
That's right. And it will, just by telling this, having this interview today. And I commend you just for opening up, because you're sharing some very intimate details about your mom and your family. But like you said, it may be able to help someone else. Because somebody watching this today may be going through the same thing.
Exactly.
Or, you know, hopefully read your book and just find out, even contact you as an advocate, you know. Hey, I need help. This is what I'm going through with my loved one, and maybe point them in the right direction. So we commend you. I commend you for that. I definitely commend you for that.
My mom always told me, because I went through a lot with my oldest son, and now he's wonderful now, you know, but she said, Rosetta, the Lord allows us to go through things to help someone else.
That's exactly right.
That's why I'm trying to keep myself together with the help of the Lord. And I've asked God to help me to forgive this person.
And He will.
But I want to help other people.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's going to allow that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I truly believe that. I truly believe it. It's just a matter of time.
It is.
And you're helping someone right now.
I
You
hope
don't even
so.
absolutely.
I hope so.
You absolutely. I know you said your mom with the dementia and the memory loss. Share a little bit about how, because there may be someone that's watching that is actually going through that with their
Right.
parents.
The dementia part, when my mom wasn't, she lived in Ruffin.
Okay.
And I would get off from work. I work at First National, been there for about 38 years. So when I would get off work at 5, I would drive to Ruffin, and she'd be sitting on the sofa waiting for me to come. And so one day I got down there, and she said, "Rosetta, I can't find the phone." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, so I hit the little call thing. It's like the little cordless handle phone. And I couldn't hear it. So I looked around, couldn't find it. I said, "Well, we'll find it, Mom. I want to, talk to you a little bit before it gets too dark, and I got to go back to Riesel."
Right.
So I was sitting there, and I was talking to her, and all of a sudden I started hearing this little ting. And I was like, "What is that?" And I looked down, her pocketbook was there. She had put the cordless phone in her pocketbook.
Oh, okay.
And we just laughed about it. But that was the start of it.
Of it.
Yeah, that was the start of it. And then a couple of weeks later, I went down to see her, and we were sitting there, and she loved that show, You're Not the Daddy, or You're the Daddy. What is that show?
Was that Maury Povich? Was it not Maury Povich, was it?
I think so.
Okay.
And so it was on, but I wasn't tuned into. We were talking, and all of a sudden I was listening, and I said, "Mama, your TV is talking in Spanish." And she said, I was wondering what was going on with that TV. I said, she had been sitting there all day trying to watch the soap operas, and the TV was talking in Spanish. So those were things that I thought maybe she just hit the controller, by mistake, didn't know how to fix it. But no, but those were some of the signs. Yeah, those were some of the signs that we overlooked. Yeah.
What can you share with us about, I know you mentioned sundowning, and for those that don't really know what sundowning is, can you explain a little bit?
Sundowning is around 4:30 every day. Well, I won't say every day because from Monday to Thursdays I wasn't there, but when I would get down there on Fridays, around 4:30, my mom would start getting agitated. It's like it was starting to get a little dimmer outside, and she would start getting agitated, and we would get ready to put her to bed around 7:30. Let a little bit of gospel music be playing, just trying to calm her down. But she would, scream out. It was like she was afraid of the darkness. We would turn the light on, like the bathroom was in front of her bedroom, the bed, and we'd keep the light on. But she would scream all night. And then when the sun was starting to come up around 5:30, 6 a.m., then she would calm down and she would go to sleep for maybe an hour or two. Not for long.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because, she had to get up and, come downstairs, have breakfast. The healthcare directive was trying to keep her on a schedule that we didn't agree with because you've been up all night long.
It's hard to.
And then you're going to have health issues, going to have memory issues if you don't get any sleep.
That's right.
So that was pretty much sundowning. No medication was given to her. There was some medication for that, and it was withheld from her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she suffered with the sundowning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me about, because I know you have a strong faith. How has your faith helped with the heartbreak, and actually with the grief, because grief hits you if you like me, mine is almost 5 years, but it comes in waves, and I know everybody. We both lost our parents. But everybody grieves differently, and that's what I always tell people. Yeah. Share how that your faith has.
I got to, and I said earlier, I had always had a relationship with the Lord.
That's right.
I had a personal relationship with Him. You have to have your own.
That's right.
But I got to the point where I couldn't pray. And because I was just so heartbroken. I just kept seeing the wounds on her body. She begging me to help her. I couldn't help her. And it was just like the Lord spoke to me and said, speak the Lord's Prayer. So from all this year, I've just been saying the Lord's Prayer. After my mom transitioned September of 2025, for a few months there, I didn't pray at all because I didn't know what to say. You know, I was a little bit angry because, and I shouldn't have been angry at the Lord, but that's who we take it out on, because we know that He's in control of everything.
Absolutely.
But He showed me red flags, and because I loved that person so much, I overlooked the red flags. But God spoke to me and told me to stay in 1 Samuel, the 30th chapter, when David's men turned against him. And David asked the Lord, you know, should I pursue? And he told me, yes, pursue, and you shall recover all. God kept me there, and then he spoke to me and said, quote the Lord's Prayer. And I've been doing that all this year.
You've been obeying that spirit. Awesome. What's your, as we wrap up, what's your word of encouragement for families that are going through this or something similar? Can you share just a word of encouragement?
With dementia, it's a very cruel disease. I will say that, dealing with it with my mother. But being there and supporting your loved ones and praying and asking God to give you strength to do whatever that assignment is. I'll just tell them to be encouraged. I know that my mom's in a better place. I know that she's not suffering anymore. I'll also tell people, when you see someone isolating your loved one from the things that they love, those are warning signs to get involved.
That's right.
Immediately. Everyone does not have your best interest. They do not. And everyone is not going to honor your wishes. Be visible. Ask questions. You know, just because this person used to tell me, you know, you don't know the medical side. You know, trust me. And I did. And my mother suffered for it.
Wow.
So be available.
That's right.
For your parents.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing your
you.
story.
Thank you.
Now, last but not least, thank you so much. You have been an inspiration, and I know you have encouraged someone today. Tell our audience how they can receive a copy of, or where they can buy Her Journey to September.
So Her Journey to September is available on Amazon. You can search my name, Rosetta S. Brown. You can go to my bio and click on the link, and it will take you directly to my Amazon site and Her Journey to September. I just want everyone to know my mom's story and spread awareness.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hi, I want to thank Miss Rosetta Brown for sharing her story. It is very powerful and encouraging. This ends our session of Issues from the Heart. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the MIXX Network. And if you have an idea, you have a story that you want to share, please reach out to the MIXX Network so your voice can be heard. Thank you. Have a good evening.
This is Rosetta Brown, and you're watching the MIXX Network. Please like, share, and subscribe.